Hey there, this is Dana Arcuri from DanaArcuri.com, author, speaker, advocate, and survivor. And today's topic is for a lot of you folks who are dealing with narcissists and flying monkeys. But today we're going to switch the roles. And instead of having a typical situation of a narcissistic parent and your siblings are the flying monkeys, instead we're going to flip the role, and it's going to be a narcissistic sibling and your parent is the flying monkey. So this kind of changes things up a bit. And the reason we're having this discussion today is because someone who is watching my videos and sharing their own concerns have reached out and asked me some questions. And I'm going to keep them confidential, but I will share what they asked and their story of what is going on with them, and then I'll get into my tips on how to approach this. Okay, so let's start with their letter. And they say, how do you handle it when the flying monkey is a parent and the narcissist is a sibling? Every time you talk to this parent, they bring up the sibling and they keep trying to get me to come back. It's so annoying because this parent is the only family I have, and I don't know what to do. This parent seems to be obsessed with this idea of the perfect family and having their kids together. But the thing is, all that means is that this sibling can still abuse me, and all they want to do is put me down, verbally attack me, and then they turn around and they act like the victim. And then the parent comes to me and guilt trips me about how I can't break up the family and the family is all I have. What can I do? Because I don't want to lose this parent, but it is completely unfair. I have been dealing with this abuse of the narc sibling my whole life, and I'm still living in the same house with them. It's just so isolating. The sibling keeps coming at me and staring at me and dropping word for me in conversations, but still the parent is guilt tripping me about me trying to get away from them and my not talking to them because the sibling is family. But what kind of family is that? I cannot tell you how many days, months, and years I have spent dealing with this. Any thoughts? Oh, there we go. That's their questions and their situation. Oh boy, I have plenty of thoughts. And so what we're going to do is get into their three options. So we have three options. I've nailed it down, and I'm going to keep this super simple. And remember, we're going to look at this from the root. And the root is family dysfunction. And so I am sharing my own opinion, and this is based on my experience. This is based on what I have educated myself about, what I have learned about when it comes to the dynamics of a toxic and unhealthy family. And so it is unfortunate that this person lives with them. Their number one obstacle is to find a new home. Okay, so the key is to reconsider your living arrangements, to reconsider what is best for you, your mental health, your psychological well-being. And I know it might not be an easy solution, believe me, especially during right now, like everything going on with the pandemic and a lot of lockdowns still in place. It could be extremely daunting to have to go look for a new home. However, you may actually find yourself in a better position, even if you're sleeping on a friend's couch and this friend is supportive, caring, loving, and they are there for you because they know that what you're going through is extremely challenging, painful, and it is just absolutely poison. The longer you stay in the home, the longer you will be greatly impacted in such a negative way with this family dynamic. Okay, so we have to understand that we cannot fix or change a sibling and a parent. So whether the sibling is the narcissist and the parent happens to be the flying monkey, Or even if we switch it back to it's a mom or dad who is narcissistic and it's the sibling that's a flying monkey. Any which way we look at it, we can't fix them. We can't save them. You know, there's that whole thing. You can't help someone until they help themselves. And the thing when it comes to narcs and flying monkeys is they are not even willing to do the hard work, to take a deep look on the inside, to realize that they are the problem. They have some serious psychological and mental instability, and they're abusive, and on occasion they could be quite violent, and therefore they're not willing to do the hard work of recovery. And until they can do the hard work, we may need to consider getting as far away as possible. Which leads me to number one. You have a choice. You know, you have a choice. And I personally believe from my own experience that full no contact is the best solution. Now, there are other solutions, but they're not the best solution. Going full no contact is your ticket to freedom. Let's talk about it. So when we go full no contact with a narcissist and the flying monkey, what this means is that we will not communicate with them ever again. We will not associate with them ever again. The relationship is over. It's ended. It's gone. Adios. And we have a fresh start. Next is we're not going to visit the sibling and the parent. We're not going to talk on the phone. We're not going to have face-to-face contact. We're not going to write letters or accept their letters. We're not going to email them or follow them on Facebook. No. You know, no contact means just that. No contact. And it means the relationship has died. And it means that we understand that we can't change them. We understand that we can't fix them. But we decide to get back in that driver's seat and focus on, but what can I control? You can control yourself. You could make changes. You could change your living situation, whether it takes you 1 month, 1 year, however long it may take. It might be short and it might be lengthy, but my goodness, don't you deserve to heal? Don't you deserve to have peace of mind? Yes, you most certainly do. Let's move on to number 2 would be stay in the relationship, okay? So you have that option. You could stay in the home, stay in the relationship, continue going through the crazy making 3-ring circus. Understand that if you stay in the home, you can't change anything. You're not able to change them. You're not able to make this negative situation and their behaviors and their abuse, you have no control over them. Their words, their actions, the secrets, the taunting, the triangulation of relationships, the smear campaigns. Do you understand? You will never, ever be able to control them. And as long as you're under a roof with toxic people, guess what? You have a lot of toxicity in your life that will directly influence your mental health, spiritual health, and your emotional wellness. We have to understand it's going to have an impact on your overall well-being. Only you can make the decision to stay or to leave. It's something to definitely spend a lot of quality time praying about it, meditate over it, journal about it. Hide the journal though. You don't want them reading what your plans are. Keep it on the low down. Next would be Grayrock. So Grayrock is an option. I didn't realize that in my early years with my narcissistic mother and my toxic siblings, I didn't realize until more recently that I spent my life Grayrocking. And, Grayrocking, it has some pros and cons, okay? There are good points and there are bad points. Let's talk a little bit about Grayrock, okay? So what is Grayrocking? This is when you are in low contact with your parent and siblings. This is when you are intentionally trying to avoid conflicts with them. So you're doing everything within your own power to really steer clear of them, of any kind of talks that are going to end up being a disaster, where they're going to start creating all kind of nastiness and viciousness, lies, denial. They're going to play the victim card. Oh my goodness, it's just so much nonsense, and it's really rough. And that's why when we gray rock, you're laying low. You're not willingly visiting them. You're not willingly having conversations with them. Let's just say you try to keep it very limited. However, if you live with someone, gray rock is extremely difficult. I don't know that you can actually successfully gray rock in a living situation because you don't have the freedom to escape them. Okay, sure, you could go into your bedroom. Yes, you can lock your door. And if you feel unsafe, by all means, lock your door and call the police. But the thing is, if you're in a living situation, it's not like you could really be low contact. You live with them, which brings me straight back to number one, go full no contact and move out. Okay, but let's focus on the gray rock for a minute because there's still more to talk about it. So obviously, there are some people who are fortunate enough to not live with a sibling, and they don't live with a narcissistic person, whoever it may be. So whether the narc is your sibling and whether the flying monkey happens to be your parent, if you don't live with them, that is in your favor. That is awesome, because now you have this opportunity where you're not going to email them, you're not going to text message them, you're not going to visit them, you're not going to spend time with them, you're going to lay low, and perhaps once in a blue moon, they might text you, and if you feel like it, you might respond, but remember, you don't react. They're going to try to bait you into this negative emotion. They want this emotional response out of you. They want you crying and swearing and cussing, and they want you fighting and screaming and yelling. Don't fall for the bait. So understand that it's okay if you don't respond to their emails. It's okay if you don't respond to their text message. If they happen to send you a message on Facebook or some other form of social media, give yourself permission to ignore them, because that's what gray rock is. You're basically really trying to stay a long distance from someone who's very toxic. In my personal opinion, gray rock is temporary. So, for example, I had gray rocked most of my life. I didn't realize that I was doing it, but now that I revisit history, that's exactly what it was. But what I found out in 2017, especially in 2018, was gray rock failed. It was an epic fail. Why? Because the narcissist and the flying monkeys continue to harass me and bully me. They continue to devalue me, disrespect me. They didn't care about my boundaries, and they were not the least bit caring or loving. And I realized, I can't change them. I can't fix them. And by all means, I had to make a choice, and I chose to let them go and release them. There's that whole thing. Bless and release. Bless and release. Oh, it's beautiful. And so oftentimes when gray rock fails, that's when we step it up to full no contact. And the reason why the gray rock is so temporary is because in the end, you're going to still be dealing with a narcissist. You're still going to be dealing with flying monkeys. There's still going to be so much pathological abuse and trauma, and you deserve so much better. And that is why gray rock should be temporary, not permanent. And if you reach the end of your rope, you may need to consider just cutting the ties altogether and starting a new life. Okay, so please understand that flying monkeys do the dirty work of the narcissist. They will bash you, bully you, bait you, gaslight you, manipulate you, and try to purposefully hurt you. The flying monkey is not your friend. Okay, so for this person who says the flying monkey is their parent, I'm really, 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 really sad about this. I'm sorry I have to be the one to break the news. If your parent, whether it's a mom or a dad, is a flying monkey, they're not your friend. You can't trust them, okay? They do not value you. They do not respect you. They're not behaving gently nor loving. And flying monkeys are the enemy. Do you understand? It's not just a narcissist who's your enemy. The flying monkeys are equally your enemy. They try to make us feel guilty. They want us to feel ashamed. And whenever we would speak up or try to defend ourselves or try to explain ourselves, they're going to bait us into this explosive fight. It's not going to end well. Okay? This is extremely hurtful. Baiting is when the toxic person deliberately provokes an emotional reaction from you to confirm they have power over you. Don't fall for it. Take back your power. Next, we have to understand that they play the victim card and they accuse you of being crazy. And if you're unsure about this, please watch my video that covers this topic. I've done many videos. There's one on the baiting trap. There's one on the going no contact. I mean, there's just so many. The toxic sibling. There's just so many videos. So be sure to educate yourself and to learn as much as possible about this. Lastly, we have to know that regardless of who is the flying monkey or who is the narcissist. Okay, so whether the flying monkey is your sibling or your parent or even your spouse, and whether the narcissist is your sibling, is your mother, your father, your relatives, your boss, some friend, etc., understand that the flying monkey is equally as lethal as the narcissist, okay? So they are emotional vampires just like the narcissist. The flying monkeys are deceptive. They are spiteful. They will intentionally set out to destroy you and your reputation. And if they can't control you, they're going to control how others see you. And so that sibling who happens to be narcissistic, who's talking all about you to your parent, who happens to be the flying monkey, understand that it's a dead end. It's a dead end. That situation is really out of control, and the only way to gain control is to go full no contact, in my opinion. I definitely advocate for full no contact. If you have to gray rock until you find a home, do so. Do what works with you, what works for you, but stay safe. And you may consider seeking as much support as possible. Your healthy boundaries are crucial. Isn't it time today that you stand up for yourself, that you stand up for your peace of mind, that you stand up for your emotional wellness? And all I could say is it is a tough situation, but consider all three possibilities and do what works for you. If you start off with gray rock and it just doesn't work, and maybe 10 months go by, maybe a year goes by, and you're still gray rocking and it is just an epic fail, you may consider then to go full no contact. But only you can decide what is best for you. And so I wish you the best, and anyone else who's gone through this, share with me. Is your sibling a narcissist? Is your parent a flying monkey? What did you go through and how did you handle it? And did you go no contact or did you try gray rock? Tell me your story. Let's talk about this. And in the meanwhile, you could visit me at danarcuri.com. Thanks and have an awesome day.